So welcome to our commentary track for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. A film that everybody loved, I think that's what we can take away from
Adored by
first...
fans and newcomers alike.
Each of us, I have only seen this once. I'm pretty sure you've only seen this once.
Yep, at the same time.
Yep, we went to the midnight premiere because we like Star Wars, and we left the midnight premiere not liking Star Wars.
We were so traumatized that it took us, a year and a half?
Until I am still traumatized. So
year and a half, right?
Speak for yourself. Yeah, about a year and a half. Well, that's almost
to make a video. But no, we wanted to do a video on this because we hate it, and lots of people ask specifically why, and it's too hard to summarize it all as one thing. So
there are about as many problems with this movie as there are minutes in the movie. So we felt like we could accomplish both of these goals at the same time: a rewatch and voicing all of our concerns about the direction of the franchise.
Masochistic tendencies.
Because we're a bunch of Nazi fanboys who just didn't get our fan theories validated by this movie. So, also the quality is terrible right now, and we don't know why. So we're sorry.
Yeah, it's a DVD and everything.
My first complaint: these ship designs are the worst thing I've ever seen in any sci-fi.
Self-censorship.
Yeah, thank you. They're just the worst, most rip-offy feeling. Like, modern sci-fi ships look like nothing. And these specifically look like they were, like, the dollar store versions of Star Wars ships.
That's a broad... Oh my gosh, my voice. Please hold. That's a broad critique of the new Star Wars thing, is it's like a rip-off version. Mm-hmm. It looks like the Spaceballs version, but it's not meant to be funny.
Right. It's like an unironic parody.
I'm going to point out the exact moment where I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I think we both had exactly the same, like we looked at each other in the theater.
I thought it was the first line. It's not the first line of dialogue, but it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also the genital cannons.
At least
the original design, I thought it was just one from the original concept art, and that looked real weird.
Yeah. The best part about this ship too is that this thing looks like a giant pizza slice, and this isn't even the worst design in the movie.
It's so weird looking because it looks unfinished, which maybe it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's stylistically designed to be that way.
So, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Wait for it. We're just not saying anything.
A moment of silence for the death of Star Wars. There it is.
Yep.
I'm not exaggerating. That was the moment I slouched down in my chair and I was like, "Oh boy."
This is what they put on the epitaph of the gravestone of the Star Wars.
This is
franchise.
by no means the worst.
Oh no!
But this is a harbinger.
Right. This is like when you fly over 3 Mile Island, and as the reactor is overloading and you get exposed to the radiation, you don't die right then. You die a little while later, like when the movie ends. But this is when you first get exposed. This is when you contract cancer for the first time. You die later.
It's when you feel the lumps.
So this sequence is terrible, and it does nothing to
build
tension.
For a number of reasons, yeah.
That is my main problem with it, is that this is supposed to be a moment at which the entire resistance could be crushed, and literally the entirety of the First Order, which is supposedly in control of the entire galaxy at this point, is being held off by a single
fighter. Yeah.
Like, this is, again, strong villains make strong heroes. When your villains get pushed around by a single guy, I don't care how good of a pilot you are.
And this movie has really bad power balancing issues because all of the fights in this movie are very like comic booky in terms of like who wins. It's just it's always like a clear winner. And this is a good example of that. Like he's just messing with them.
And it never follows the rules.
So they introduce this new ship, and you're supposed to feel intimidated, right? Like at the beginning of A New Hope, not to compare to old Star Wars movies, but that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In A New Hope, the opening shot of that movie is a tiny little cruiser being chased by a giant Star Destroyer, and it sets a feeling of traps. You know what I mean? Nowhere to run.
But
and then this is one fighter taking out the big bad ship that we're introducing in this movie. That's bigger than any other ship ever.
Imagine if the opening of A New Hope was the CR-90 just running circles around Darth Vader's Star Destroyer and blowing up all of its cannons.
A ship smaller than the CR-90.
Yeah.
and then a ship bigger than the Star Destroyer. Because you can't tell me that this thing is intimidating when Poe Dameron can just fly circles around it. And I don't care that he's a good pilot.
Right.
That
the
you
best
can't
pilot
use that
in
excuse.
the world should not be able to do this. It is universe breaking. It just is immersion breaking. If you can do this, then why do you have another? Like, why do you need a whole fleet of starfighters? Just send Poe in all the time. It's just stupid. It's just brainless.
Also, disobeying direct orders is,
You get a slap on the wrist for it.
You get upgrade. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yes,
we'll wait. I'll let you have your. That's your thing.
So what bothers me about this scene specifically is that Poe Dameron apparently is in command of the squadron of Resistance bombers in this next scene, but Leia, Poe Dameron's superior, is not in command of the squadron of bombers or is unable to communicate.
Also,
with
this what is this thing called?
BB-8.
BB-8, yeah. BB-8's stupid. Like, it's so slapsticky.
But, like,
when did R2-D2 first of all, keep extending his little hands into 1,000 different circuits and then just slam his head into it?
And is not the sole purpose of whatever the BB-8 type droid, is their sole purpose not to repair and maintain these fighters during combat? How does he not know what to do? Like BB-8, it's portrayed as though he's like completely confused by this.
Also, speaking of great ship designs, enter the worst ship design.
They got rid of K-Wings for these things.
Rest in peace. K-Wings are so cool.
These just don't look like anything. They're just big rectangles. I'm so mad.
Remember the Thrawn trilogy?
Just think about that. I sometimes have to go to my happy place during the sequel trilogy and just remember that. It's
just the bridge of the Chimera with Admiral Thrawn, executing people.
He executes Captain Kennedy and Ryan Johnson. So, what they're going for, I have a lot of issues with this, alright? So, I'm going to talk about one thing in particular. What they're going for here is, Star Wars is like World War II in space, which it is, Yep. So why isn't there a, B-17 analog, right? For, a really heavy bomber that's slow and lumbering but carries a large payload, right? Now, that makes sense when you're fighting a war. A lot of people were talking about, there's no gravity in space. Well, there is. But that's not the problem. The problem is, why would you put yourself in the position, a tactically disadvantageous position of flying over something if you didn't have to, if you could just launch missiles at it? Mm-hmm. That's the reason bombs aren't really used that much anymore.
Also, these bombers are just the worst. I mean, they're getting... It's funny that the fighters come out now, too. That Poe's done doing his Rambo impersonation across the entire front of the what is that thing called?
Dreadnought?
The large pizza slice.
Yeah.
Dreadnought?
I think it's actually called the Manticore 4 class.
Okay.
Well, it's a type of ship anyway. And I only know that because the Manticore 1 through 3 are actual ships in continuity. They were Super Star Destroyers that the Clone Wars era Republic used.
You're the only bomber.
Yeah, also, I like how it's not that the fighters
did any of the bombers
picked them off.
I don't think any of the bombers dropped a payload, did they?
It's that the fighters hit one bomber, and then that bomber chain reaction exploded into all the other bombers.
This is another critique, and this goes along with, when we watched Rogue One, we talked about this, but how we have the money and the technology to do bigger and better space battles than ever. Mm-hmm. And yet the space battles consist of... They're always really closely shot so that they don't have to animate too many things all at the same time. So there's one bomber filling up, 80% of the screen. Mm-hmm. and then we have a couple ships fly in the background, and then just some explosions.
They had the one shot as they were initiating this battle of all the bombers flying in, just so that they could use that for the trailer.
Right,
and
but
then
that's
you
just
never
copy paste more or less.
But then you never see any sort of scale to this fight ever again.
No,
it's
all really close up, and it's short. But it's just so lazy because I mean, they used to have models, and there's a lot more that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
And even Revenge of the Sith, the opening battle over Coruscant is really great.
Oh yeah,
it has a lot of sense of scale. You know, there's a lot going on. This is just boring. I don't know.
I don't know if they're going for like a more personal feel or whatever by keeping it small. So such like the space battle is such small scale in this.
Maybe you could make that argument.
But it
here.
doesn't. You don't get to know any of the characters. The only service that could bring to the movie is to further develop individual characters rather than focusing on a broad number. But we don't get to know any of these characters more.
And that's never been a huge thing in Star Wars, but you always get some quips and things from the pilots, even if they die. You know a little bit about them.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, think about how many pilots, like what Wedge Antilles is just a pilot, but he's like a fan favorite character.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we never get anybody who's just a minor character in these movies that isn't, like, committee designed to be a fan favorite, you know?
Like, oh, they sacrifice themselves.
Also, I want to talk about how they introduced such a creative new ship design as the RZ-2 A-Wing. Before we saw this, when they released, or when they said that, or they revealed that they were going to be introducing A-Wings again, I made a joke about, I bet they're going to be called RZ-2. Am I right, guys? And
this is the nerdiest thing.
They actually are. Can you imagine if this happened to Tarkin?
I was just going to say, can we talk about respecting your superior officers? These people, I'm sure, have a lot of respect for their superior officer. And this is another thing. Throughout this movie, the movie can't decide if General Hux is a bad Nazi or if he's a doofus.
A moron, yeah, like just a complete,
which is a problem for your villain. You can have... No, you really can't have a goofy villain. Especially when you kill off the main villain who's not goofy. You just kill him off like a chump. Well... It's been a year and a half.
So the thing, because remember in like the Death Star briefing room
fun,
scene,
wacky bit.
Yeah, this is funny. Like we can play the Seinfeld theme over this part, I think.
That is like something George would do in Seinfeld, like fall off an operating table and like squirt water everywhere. Jerry, I squid it. No, I'm not gonna finish that.
It's probably for the best. So wait, is Poe Dameron Jerry Seinfeld in this like scenario? Like, remember how in, like, Hux is the Tarkin analog, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, he's the general, the one and only we're introduced to as far as I'm concerned, in the movies at least.
Remember in the Death Star briefing room scene when Tarkin asks, he's like, Vader, enough of this, release him, when Vader's force choking the guy?
Oh, the quality is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. But Vader says, as you wish. He doesn't just, like... The scene that we just saw of Snoke throwing Hux around, can you imagine what that would have done to Tarkin's, like, gravitas as a character? Yeah. If he just got thrown around like a rag doll in that scene?
Well, that's... This scene...
Now we get... We approach the part of the movie where... That's become a meme.
The second punch to the gut.
Yeah, the assassination.
The 1-2.
Luke Skywalker as a character.
I really, I mean, besides the malicious, I can't find a good reason why they did that to Luke. Mm-hmm. It has to be malicious.
I mean, it is. There is no other explanation. I mean, even Mark Hamill is not happy about it.
No. You should, insert some footage of Mark Hamill into this.
Yeah, I'll just put some interview clips.
Some little audio, dub over some audio with Mark Hamill.
We could Photoshop in Rian Johnson handing him the script, and then he throws the script over his shoulder, something like that.
That seems like a lot of work. I'm lazy.
I audibly sighed at that part when we were watching this in the theater. I was just so disappointed.
There's a lot of points in this movie where I audibly sighed.
And just it's such a waste of like a good setting too. Like this. Oh, come on now.
Gotta sell those toys. If this was a good movie, that would have turned on.
I always thought that it was like setting up for the comedic timing would have been there. You know, like
that's not really appropriate for a Star Wars movie, I would guess.
Oh, that's the. Did you recognize the ancient compass?
I don't care.
On the cover of like the Last Jedi Visual Dictionary or whatever, it
that
has
was actually
a picture
them
of that.
picking him up from his house the first day of filming, and he just, after he read the script, go away. Oh yeah, they handled Han Solo's death really well too. Mm-hmm. Not saying they had to dwell on it and have like a whole funeral, but you know, a little moment of respect would have been nice.
He doesn't get no respect, Han Solo. That's all we get. Luke's best friend in the world, who he abandoned for 30 years, but still, I mean...
Yeah, we really... There's not really a compelling reason why you would leave a map if you didn't want anyone to ever come find you.
It's one of the many plot points that he just completely dropped from Force Awakens. Just without ceremony.
The screw you to anything.
Now we come to the introduction of the greatest anti-character ever put to film.
Yeah, extra would probably be a better
not Darth
definition. I was gonna go somewhere with something.
I mean, we could. Do you have anything to say about?
Well, we're just degenerate basement dwellers, so.
Yeah, what do we know?
Fat slobs.
We're probably just some misogynists.
Oh, yes.
Who are upset that strong women are now in the Star Wars franchise. Even though strong women have always been in the Star Wars franchise, one could argue.
Isn't that weird? It's almost like, you know, in the Thrawn trilogy, Leia is a pretty main character who has her own Jedi skills that she develops.
Mm-hmm. If only we would have gotten
that seems like a stronger female character, and that was, I mean, quite a few years ago.
If only that had been put to the silver screen.
Put that in the list of dropped plot points from previous movies. Han became a deadbeat father.
Luke is an attempted child murderer.
Ben, stop!
Yeah, that is my favorite part. We're gonna have to talk about that.
We're gonna have to play that one back a couple of times. Yeah. That whole story doesn't make it. Well, we can talk about it when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Right now, we should talk about how they changed the positioning of Kylo Ren's scar.
Yeah.
Because they really don't care about continuity.
It's kind of like George Lucas was just like, I want Anakin to have a scar. the writers will figure out why, how it got there.
Do you know why it got there?
I feel like you've told me before.
It's because Ashes Ventress cut
Such
him.
A freaking nerd. Did they think Skywalker was dead?
What kills me about this is that Return of the Jedi gets accused all the time of being maybe not necessarily a terrible movie, but a less good movie.
Look at that! What a nice. Sorry.
A less good movie because it was quote unquote just made to sell toys, you know? But like, what purpose are these Red Guards serving in this scene? What purpose do the Porgs serve in that previous scene? It's like, and nobody has said anything about this.
Well, I think everyone just knows Disney's in it for the cash.
Mm-hmm.
Disney will milk the teats dry.
Speaking of milking teats, that's going to come up in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Foreshadowing. No, I'm gonna shut up.
It's about as funny as the Hux Poe Dameron exchange. Pretty sure this counts as like workplace harassment or something, doesn't it?
Do you think the First Order has that sort of thing?
Don't you think it's weird how the First Order lets women be? If they're such a terrible white supremacist, misogynist organization, why do they let women be officers?
Women
and minorities.
Black men, other minorities. Yeah.
Nobody batted an eye when Rose was in the officer outfit either. Rose and Finn. Think about it. They're
I
kind
have
of
no
bad,
problem with them being quote like we talked about before World War II, but this whole like
but they're just bad at being white supremacists. That's all I'm saying.
They are. I think they only hate aliens, illegal aliens.
This is so sad to me. This is just, and not sad in the way the movie intends either.
Yeah.
Just,
It's because you're a basement dweller.
yeah, it's because my fan theories weren't validated.
What's that thing called? That animal in the background there?
It would be sad if I knew, actually. I used to
Sure.
be proud of knowing Star Wars trivia, but not for the sequel trilogy. Not for the new canon. Now here it comes.
Oh. My family really hated this. I mean, everyone.
Yeah,
really.
everybody really hated this.
Yeah. Ugh. It's in such a weird spot.
What a
too.
necessary scene. Why does she smile like that? Like,
she's scare-roused, as the kids say.
I am scared.
Look at it. It's like, we both get benefits from this.
It's so, like, cartoony and wacky, too.
Well, and it's just like one set to the next.
Let me
one
just
set piece.
Let me just pole vault across on my mile-long spear that I use to hunt fish. This is a thing that normal people do.
Well, I'm not gonna get. In the grand scheme of things, this is not.
But it's
as big a deal.
cartoony.
It's stupid. It's stupid. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things,
Like, it wouldn't have. It's not, I guess, in the strictest sense, continuity
that's what I'm
breaking.
saying.
But it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's good.
This
Doesn't mean
movie
I
does a lot
support
of bad things. This is one of the least bad things
I'm not,
in a series of bad things.
I'm not limiting my commentary to the worst things.
Okay, all right.
Listen. That's what you say to people who were watching The Last Jedi. I feel like Luke is talking to us personally.
Is this movie over yet?
This may have been a mistake.
We're not even 30 minutes in.
And most of that was just trying to figure out what a clap sync was. So here we come to another unique concept that Rian Johnson created for this movie and this movie only.
Yeah. Really is a genius. I mean, Looper wasn't that bad.
Was The Fly that bad?
The Breaking Bad episode?
Yeah.
No, it's good. But again, within the confines of a very specific script, he couldn't really deviate that much. They just knew they had very little budget.
Well, I mean, Rian Johnson wrote and directed this, right? He didn't just direct it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was other writers, but he is credited as the writer, at least like the main writer.
Right.
So this is, I think it's safe to say that more or less,
entirely his
80
fault.
to 90% of this is from the beautiful mind of Rian Johnson. Never have I cared any less.
This, it would have been cool if they would have like incorporated this into the plot.
That is a good point. They introduce it and it comes into play in one other scene just for like
just to destroy them, like
just to destroy the old
laughs,
and
too.
that's Rian Johnson's thing. He dredges up the past and then he kills it. He really likes that. Destroying. What is that line in this movie?
Kill the past or something.
It's okay. Yeah.
Destroy. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
How does Luke even know what the Resistance is?
That is a pretty fair point. How do we know what the Resistance is? Because The Force Awakens does a very terrible job of setting that up.
The state of the galaxy does not make any sense in this.
And you would think they would have some sort of setup, because we've skipped quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
We went from victory to back to where we were.
Yep. Well, that's essentially this entire thing. Well, even with localized within this movie, nothing changes about the state of the
Oh no,
galaxy.
well, there's not really any state of the galaxy because it's the entire movie is just one ship slowly can't catch the. Remember that? I almost forgot about that. The entire movie is just one ship that can't, for some reason, catch another ship or do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just slowly following each other. So we don't even have like any
progression.
We don't talk about anything outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even go to any really other than that planet, the capitalism planet.
Oh, not Tatooine. 2. The second not Tatooine. Casino Planet. Casino Royale.
Canto Bight.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Canto Bight, isn't it?
I don't care.
Fair enough. Canto Bight is the only like inhabited planet I'm pretty sure that we go to in this. Everything else is just like towards the end they have that call or whatever they call out for other rebel cells, but that never goes anywhere.
Real quick.
Just
want to talk about this. That's also a really weird line. I'm not sure.
It's a very weird line.
I'm not sure if I can get behind that.
Leia can. Sorry.
Did she say it yet?
Mm-mm.
She.
I don't think so. Did she?
She said you're demoted, but I specifically remember them saying that he was demoted.
Yeah.
To which way was it? The wrong way. He was either he was a commander and he got demoted to a captain, I think was what they
Something
said,
like
right?
that.
Even though that's backwards. Commander is a lower rank than captain.
That woman, not to be rude, that woman looks like a rat.
She looks like a Harry Potter character.
Yes, exactly. Like a rat.
Poor Akbar, man. This is...
I was personally offended.
If Akbar was a real person, he could sue this movie.
Did you ever get a sense that
Stop interrupting me. I was talking about Akbar. Akbar would sue this new movie for defamation. Don't you want to hear me say that?
Alive.
Okay, what were you going to say?
You made me sad. I'm thinking about Akbar. Because that's another thing that gets no, like, ceremony at all. Again, I don't need a whole, like, 10-minute funeral scene. A little respect for our fallen heroes.
Do you remember how big a deal it was when Admiral Akbar came back for the Battle of Ebac 9 during the Yuzan Vong War? Came out of retirement? And this is all the thanks he gets for it?
Well, I'm guessing he never really retired in this universe. Because this universe is just sad.
This is really a incredibly depressing...
Like, again, not to keep bringing up the Thrawn trilogy, but at least the Thrawn trilogy tries to explain why there's still conflict, and it makes sense.
And it's not depressing either.
It's not depressing because, like, Han and Leia are having a kid. Luke's trying to, find himself.
Restart the Jedi Order.
A little personal journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Also, one of my favorite parts about this scene is that there's a literal armada of Star Destroyers and a Super Star Destroyer, and all the fighters they can muster collectively are 3 regular TIE fighters and 1 special TIE fighter. That's all that they have.
Yeah, that's another weird thing that in a myriad of bad things can get overlooked, but this is a weird...
There's so many weird...
My problem is he knew what he was going to do. Why does he, like, hesitate?
Mm-hmm.
Because he killed his dad already. I feel like you can't redo that, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have the hesitation again. You've already killed your dad. I guess maybe his dad was more of a deadbeat. How is he not dead?
Yeah, I don't know how this really relates to
shrapnel flying everywhere. I mean, again, minor critique, but it's still a little weird.
Also, that's apparently a thing that BART BB-8 can do.
No, we need to get closer so this movie can end sooner.
The 3 fighters that exist still.
And it's not even that we're not seeing the other fighters. They just showed the map. There are 3 fighters.
What kills me about this is just that I think I described it once as though they were playing like rock, paper, scissors or something. It's like a completely, like, almost like a video game understanding of combat in this movie. It's just like you have like the numbers are almost irrelevant to the conflict. It's just you take like just specific like units.
It's like turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Because no one really like fires at the same time. There's not really exchanges of fire.
It's like playing Battleship.
They sort of exchange fire, but it's not like, oh, there goes a TIE fighter. It's like we'll just sort of shoot a couple times. Oh, here it is.
Poor Akbar. Rest in pieces.
Another meme-worthy scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the scene
the third
where
one?
where Leia flies back was I completely checked out.
This is a
at
groin
that point.
punch
Yeah.
at this point.
I was done.
No, more of like to the temple. You're feeling a little delirious. That's another great line that we should extract. What is the point of all this?
That is a valid question.
That wasn't in the script.
A retarded plot point. How did this get through the writer's room? They're at a range that we can hit them but can't destroy them?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, here it's coming. This scene.
I'm trying to think of something, but this like
Really,
any words just mar it.
Pale
it's
in
just
comparison.
perfect all on its own.
Yeah.
This is another. How did this make it out of the writer's room? Because here's the other thing. I'm not excusing it, but they at least gave her something to do. Like she had some sort of a thing to fulfill in this movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm not excusing it, but it would be at least from a story writing standpoint useful.
This is so stupid. How did they film this? I mean, not that they filmed this, but you know what I mean.
I know
like,
what you mean. How did someone render this? I mean, think of all the computers that potentially could have died.
Yeah. The last
she goes through the hologram
that this computer did. Also, she just depressurizes this door, and they're all fine. But whatever.
And there's a nice cut. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Again, weird things happening. Just saying.
You could write essays on everything everything wrong this movie does in terms of narrative structure, in terms of character development.
It feels like a rough
terms
draft
of universe building.
A Neil Breen film with just way too much money involved.
Yeah.
What do you think a Neil Breen movie would be like if he had a budget?
I guess we're about to find out. Did you see the budget got increased for the new one? Twisted Pair? Looks real nice. I'm trying not to... We should keep talking about Neil Breen until the porgs are off the screen, because literally kill me.
How cute it is, though.
I want to buy so many plush dolls of these things.
The porg looks really fake, too. The meat, it looks weird.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it's made out of plastic.
Weird gripe, but it looks very plasticky, yeah.
And this is another one of those shots that they just did for the trailer, and B are just like, hey, remember Star Wars? Do you guys remember
this
Star
doesn't
Wars?
go anywhere. It's not like he's in the Millennium Falcon, like, ever.
And then the gold dice.
Everyone is confused by that.
It's like Ryan Johnson's like, yeah, they were in that one shot from A New Hope. Why don't you guys are like fake fans or something? You guys don't remember this?
Again,
bunch of basement dweller Nazis. You don't know about the gold dice in that one shot?
People who don't like me are wrong. People who disagree with me.
It's like, R2, it's so good to see you after I abandoned you for 30 years and you got suicidally depressed.
There's so much more of this movie left. I think this may be the only other time I'll ever watch this movie.
Without
like a life or death situation.
If Ryan Johnson breaks into your house, puts a gun to your head, and says you have to watch this movie a third time, would you do it?
I feel like I could take Ryan Johnson, and even if I couldn't, I think I'd be okay with that. If he blew my brains out,
what you do is you have to.
I'd have died an honorable death.
You would if he makes you watch it. What happens is that you get so depressed that you go to live on like some deserted island off the coast of Ireland,
and I leave a map for you to find me.
And then later, when you defeat, or you don't defeat Ryan Johnson, but you fight Ryan Johnson by projecting an image of yourself across the world.
I think it would be a really epic if I'm like he has like a firing squad. It's like Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and whatever.
J.J. Abrams.
I don't think Abrams. I mean, I don't love Abrams, but I think he's got a little bit more decency.
I mean, he said
I'm at a fire squad and they're just like, say Last Jedi. It's a great movie. I'd be like, shoot me.
The rest of us died with our honor.
And then there's like the music swells, and then just they cut because it's too violent.
Right.
And then you just see all the guns firing from behind the heads of the firing line. It's dark too, by the way. So the light looks
aesthetic.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you just slowly see my body slump over. It's like the end of Gran Torino.
Good reference.
That's a good movie.
You could join Admiral Akbar among the stars.
Oh yeah, that would be the end of that movie. We'd be Force Ghosts. Me and Akbar would be Force Ghosts.
Just looking down.
Do you want to tell your fun fact about astrology?
Oh yeah, we looked this up. We actually we found this out while we were recording a podcast.
That's right.
Before Last Jedi,
the lost episode 1.
Before Last Jedi came out, Vice Admiral Gender Studies is canonically believes in astrology, which I think is really funny because how does that work when you don't live on one planet? Because it's based on the arrangement of, like, the alignment of stars, but that's completely relative to what planet you're on. So
but no research was done in this movie, and it's a first draft. This was written in an airplane. Just scrawled on a napkin.
It was written in an airplane that was very slowly running from another airplane. That's what fun fact. That's what
like,
actually inspired
boom.
this.
It's like a bolt of lightning from the heavens.
Eureka!
Divine intervention.
If she's a vice admiral, isn't she in the uniform? Also, by the way, can we just talk about how stupid this is? Like, why isn't she just like a Mon Mothma type political leader?
Because again, this movie doesn't understand how combat works. This movie doesn't understand how politics works. This movie doesn't understand how the military works.
How astrology works.
Yeah, how astrology works. Because it doesn't. Because no one did any research into this movie. It is a first draft. It has to be. Like,
she called them a bombing fleet, too. Like, this is, again, a very minor gripe.
A fleet?
But it should be, like, squadron or wing.
Right.
Like, this is not the collective. And a vice admiral should know that.
But I would say that's not even... That's one of those things that Star Wars uses those terms. Not even in, like, other right? Like, the movies use those terms.
And it just sounds wrong. Like, I mean, that does sound wrong to you,
a bombing
right?
fleet.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't even think they had a fleet.
Yeah, it was like 6 ships. So we're getting a little high on ourselves here. And now we go back again because this movie offers nothing in the way of character development. Finn is exactly where he left, or like exactly where he was at the beginning of Force Awakens. Yeah. Even though we already covered him, like becoming courageous again and working through this aspect of himself at the end of Force Awakens.
Well, because we don't know what to do with these characters, and that's the problem. Well, one of the many broad problems of this movie is no one learns anything. The whole movie is just them getting beat up. And everyone feels sad at the end because everyone's just a bad person. Everyone does immoral things. Everyone makes bad decisions. Mm-hmm. And this movie is just a lot of bad decisions, both through production and from characters. Mm-hmm. Because no one learns anything. There's no progression. They're just rehashing.
Yep, all the characters, like Finn doesn't progress at all. He progressed a little in The Force Awakens, then he regressed to where he was at the beginning. Rey has nowhere to progress because she already started out being... Even in this one, they literally acknowledge that she can't learn anything because she already knows everything she needs to know. Which is a weird... Because that's how the hero's journey works.
Why did she go to Luke, then?
What's the other main character? Poe Dameron. Arguably, he has the most character development, even though it means nothing.
They don't really give him anything to do.
They give him nothing to do.
Other than be an a-hole, because he's not being told
and because
what
he's being a toxic white male. Is he white? He looks pretty white.
I don't think so.
Can we go through this entire thing without acknowledging that she exists? I think that would be kind of a fun... I mean, it would be fun for me just because I don't have to talk about her at all.
I think the Rose thing's been done to death. I don't think we have to.
Well, there's nothing that we can really
leave
say.
It alone. It speaks for itself. Self-fulfilling prophecy. genius.
She's supposed to be like the strong female character too, and the first time we see her, she's crying.
Also,
her
what a
eyes
stun
out.
weapon! What a stun weapon!
Did they ever? Oh, that okay. They did show that. Okay.
It's like the hyperspace beacon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's weird that they said that this movie could be 2 hours and 45 minutes too, because you could cut out whole subplots, and this movie would essentially be the same.
Well, even the almost staunch defenders of this are like, yeah, the Canto Bight subplot is completely pointless and could be excised from this without any loss.
But everything is B plot. Nothing is A plot. You don't have an A plot with a couple of B plots. You have all B plots.
It's like a TV show
7
episode.
Of them.
It's like several TV show episodes.
Like a filler episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do with these characters. Because they covered everything in Force Awakens.
Everybody's just running in place for this entire movie.
Which, say what you will about Force Awakens, but at least it's more or less... I mean, there's at least character development.
It works. The Force Awakens has a narrative. It's not a particularly good or original narrative.
But it has a narrative.
Yeah.
Which this movie just feels like a mess.
Also, I just want to briefly touch on this. The lead military thinkers that have kept this quote-unquote resistance alive for all this time can't figure this out, but some random deserter and some random janitor figure it out in like 2 or 3 sentences. That's pretty cool, too.
Yeah. Well, they had to do that somehow, right?
I think they cut out the line about commander and captain. I think that somebody figured that out. And they were like, you know what?
I don't know.
We're idiots.
Or we just loudmouthed over it. Good thing we have the schematics for this new ship.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
I actually didn't notice that the first time I watched it. But yeah, good thing we have the exact schematics for this new ship that we just found. Right? I think they even say that, like, they've never encountered this ship before. They just have the schematics for it.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that they recognized that it was Snoke's ship. I mean, it's still kind of a stretch that they would have that up-to-date of information on it.
Still, I can't imagine that you'd have just the schematics, because the whole thing with the Death Star is they procure them through losing a lot of boffins.
And they specifically didn't know that the hyperspace tracking was even a thing.
Right.
So how would they know where the hyperspace tracker was?
Which is really weird, because they introduce that and basically immediately resolve it.
Yep.
In the scene we just watched. So, you know, set up and payoff in the same scene. Saves time. Also, it's weird that they have to... what's her name? Maz Kanata. It's weird that they have her in this movie, too. It's like they felt like they needed her.
It's just... It feels like fan service, but they forgot that nobody's actually a fan of Maz Kanata.
It's weird, too, because they play her off as like an action hero in this. Again, this is a very minor thing. And maybe in the extended universe, there's more detail. But in Force Awakens, you sort of get the impression that she's like a grandma, right? Like, maybe she's had a history of being cool. But she's just like a little old lady. Right?
That's
Yeah, it's a minor thing. It's weird that they included her in this movie.
It is.
It's like they felt like they had to give her something to do, but just to give exposition and then go away.
Just to introduce the worst subplot.
Also, how do you know he's in Canto Bight of all places in the galaxy?
And he always is there too.
Yeah, you'll find him at a high. Yeah.
He just lives at the casino.
I know I do. A master code breaker.
So stupid.
Who said that without snickering? It sounds like something from a bad hacker movie.
I mean, Maz Kanata also just sounds like...
The master code breaker.
She sounds like she's like somebody trying to do an impression of Edna Mode from The Incredibles.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Back to this extremely...
Lovely place.
Yeah.
Didn't you say your mom has been to that island?
Skellig Michael, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. The little
fact
beehive huts that they're in
for the boys and girls at home.
Yeah, they were originally a Catholic monastery. They're like a bunch of monks lived there.
Desecrating the holy ground.
It was originally kind of exciting to have a Star Wars movie there, but now it's kind of just insulting.
It's a cool location.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, yeah.
You know.
punk. It's a pretty powerful blaster, by the way.
Yeah. It's supposed to just leave burns. But I can't imagine Rian Johnson knows that. These sequences are really weird.
I don't know what this is supposed to... Didn't you already fail to do this, dude? Like...
These are not the droids you're looking for. You're going to go home and rethink your life.
I do, actually.
That's another good line that we should soundbite. Want some death sticks? You're going to go home and rethink your life. There are redeeming qualities in the prequels.
Plenty of redeeming qualities.
I mean, they're still pretty bad.
Listen, but even the bad parts can be memed. The bad parts in this can't be memed.
No, because this movie is just gray and depressing. Like I said, everyone is a bad guy.
It's like they don't believe morality exists.
These things.
What was that one doing? Did you see that? They were raking
It's
the
raking
paved.
the stone. Don't you rake the stone?
Hashtag raking the stone.
Sounds like a euphemism. I was cleaning my blaster.
Hashtag cleaning the blaster.
That line doesn't make a lot of sense.
Which one?
I don't think they like me.
Oh.
Also, why are they there? I know that there's a deleted scene that sort of gives them a little bit more background, but it feels like they're just there to be housekeepers for Luke.
Well, what I hate about it is that it kind of undercuts the whole thing of, like, self-exile. Because he's just living in a community. He's just, like, it's basically like he's crashing a retirement home. That's essentially what Luke is doing in this.
He's just sort of, does he have a deal with them? What's the deep lore? I want a whole, Disney, I want a book about the deep lore of how Luke got here, and then like, did he ask permission to be here?
He doesn't
he's
look like
polluting
the
the
kind
water
of guy.
by sinking an X-wing in it. I mean,
That's
think
true.
of all the emissions.
And he's overfishing. He's really damaging the local
Because I can't
environment.
imagine they eat as much. Because, I mean, they're about half the size.
Mm-hmm.
He treats them like his slaves. Huh? Seems a little pretentious.
Boy, that quality, though.
Green screen. Mm.
Yeah, even through the bad quality, it's kind of obvious.
Even through what I can only assume is Netflix's fault.
Yep. Original rating from Rian Johnson. People were laughing in the theater. Interesting.
That's the most interesting thing that's ever happened in the city.
People were actually laughing at that part in the theater, though.
The hand holding?
Yeah, no, like the part where he touches her. That sounds, you know what I mean. He touches her, and then he says, "Oh, you must be really strong."
Yes,
in
when
the
he
Force."
touches her, that makes me laugh too. Yes, no, I know what you're talking about. Sorry. I'm trying to. It's a way of coping.
I like how they just got some stock footage for this part.
I deal with serious situations with comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of coping.
Just say a bunch of opposites. That sounds it sounds poetic and deep, doesn't it?
Sounds Eastern. It binds the universe. It holds everything together.
What this feels like is, so you know that scene in Doctor Strange where where he's like flying through all the dimensions, and it's like I get what they're going for, but like we've seen that, you know, like the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey exists, so that's not really that surprising.
It sure does.
You know what I mean? But so
that was filmed in like a paint factory, So they were like all high on paint fumes.
They really convey that feeling pretty well.
Well, I mean, 2001 basically is you have to be high to. Kubrick was smoking the good stuff. You know what I mean?
But like that's essentially what this scene is. It's just like they're trying to be deep, but they're just doing something that everybody else has already done before.
In all fairness, Star Wars has never really been great at being deep.
No, but they don't like be so pretentious about it in the other ones.
Yeah, I think the most in the prequels, and that's because of all the weird Anakin stuff. But
what midi-chlorians?
One.
You're one to talk. Like what?
Remember when he was like, I see good even in Darth Vader. I can sense it within him. Yeah. I think he forgot about that. Because now he's like, my what, godson would that be?
Nephew?
Is it his, whatever.
Yeah.
My nephew, I sense a little bit of dark side. I'm not going to like try to teach him why that's wrong. I'm just going to try to kill him in his sleep.
Yeah.
But Darth Vader has a little bit of good in him. You know, Darth Vader who mass genocided like billions of people.
But he...
Or had a hand in...
God help you if you so much as think about that.
Thought crime.
There's another really nice ship design there. It's a cylinder with a little fin on the back.
It's a cube, and then there's a little tapered bit, and then a little fin.
Get it?
Shoot me.
I just want to wring their scrawny little necks, you know what I mean?
I think Chewie does too.
Why
I
doesn't
want an
he?
R-rated cut where Chewie is just popping their heads off.
Should be like the end of Kingsman, where it's just playing like a really preppy song and all of their heads are exploding.
That would be like the after credit scene. We just see Chewie sitting in the Millennium Falcon, and he just snaps and he just starts pulling heads off porgs.
I mean, Wookiees are known to do things like that.
I know, they pull the arms right out of their sides.
It would be totally within character.
He's apparently also familiar with this to some degree, because he seems pretty chill about it. He's like, Force is connecting us.
He seems like way more than comfortable is the thing. It's like he's always like very, very badly flirting with Rey. That's like the impression that I get from scenes like this. Like, why is... Look at this. You see this?
It's sad because he's not a bad actor. I don't know if you've seen Logan Lucky.
No.
It's not a super good movie, but it's kind of a fun like heist movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and he plays like a country bumpkin kind of guy, and it's actually pretty funny.
I mean, I would definitely blame the acting more than blame the writing more than the acting.
I know. I'm just saying, like he seems like a genuine guy. And he's missing an arm in Logan Lucky, and then that they have lots of jokes with that where he like loses his arm.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a prosthetic arm.
Just like he lost part of his face. It
Again,
rhymes.
Coping mechanism.
It's like a poem. It rhymes.
This whole sequence is a meme.
Yeah.
The whole Canto Bight.
Nobody defends this.
No, I know. The staunch defenders of The Last Jedi won't even barely touch this. Here we will introduce...
I don't remember that. Was that in...
I don't remember that either. The sail barge? Because...
I mean, it very well could have been in the
yeah,
first cut,
I think at this point we're all sort of like trying to forget. Can we talk about the fact that this entire situation could have been avoided if they just didn't park
they just parked
on a public
legally.
beach?
Yeah. Again, it's just
Is
such
the parking
a weird,
that difficult?
Just such a weird thing to get like hung
It
up
feels
on.
very prequels. Even the
Yeah.
design of this stuff looks very prequels.
This doesn't even look prequels. This just looks like a completely different franchise.
Also true. It looks like French sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
This reminds you of like Valerian.
Yeah. This could very easily fit into a Valerian or what was that other one? That new one that came out that everybody was excited about. It was another weird French one.
Was there a new sci-fi movie?
I mean, relatively.
Jupiter
new.
Ascending. I
have nothing to add to this. This is just such a masterpiece.
No. So all the problems that they encounter here come from them being assholes and parking on the beach, though. If they just parked where they were supposed to, they probably wouldn't have any issue, because they're not doing anything illegal.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find a guy.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But it undermines the point that they're trying to make with this. The deep point that, no one picked up on. The intense...
subtlety.
The subtle satire. Very prequels.
Listen, I feel like you're coming at the prequels so hard.
But does this not an arena with things racing? Does that not feel prequels? A little boy who's a Jedi. Perhaps he doesn't have a father.
Oh, animal cruelty. Why would you write your story in such a way as to convey this message when you can just tell the audience verbatim what you want the message to be? It's so much easier, honestly. It's a great time-saving technique. What a quotable line.
I just want to put my fist through this whole lousy, beautiful town.
I want to put my fist...
It is a really weird line.
BB-8 is like the only one who knows how to do it. He's like way overpowered in this, which is a weird thing to say, but like, why is BB-8 the most effective character in this movie? Also, I'm pretty sure that's police brutality.
How does he know what they look like?
Yeah, I mean, that's another good point, but like, how do they know BB-8 was with them? But can you imagine if you parked illegally and you got tased? Think about it.
I mean, they're rich jerks.
Yeah, I just want to put my fist through a lousy, beautiful face or whatever. Gosh, we're like not even halfway through this.
No, we're not.
This was a mistake.
We're a little over a third.
Does that lightsaber blade seem a little short to you?
Yep.
Weird.
I wasn't going to mention it because that's very specific.
Not everything has to be like the worst thing in the universe.
Sounds like a very neckbeard thing to say, though. Lightsabers aren't the regulation
size. We're a bunch of basement-dwelling misogynists. We can say that, right?
I know.
Uh-huh. Yep. Need some shots for the trailer. All right, you got it. Does it make sense in the story?
This is a really odd
Does it have to?
sequence, yeah. So we're training. Oh, you mean just swinging her lightsaber? Yeah, that's good enough.
Training. Also, are you aware that like you're not supposed to try to learn martial arts by yourself?
Yeah.
Like this
I think that's sort
pretty
of a
commonly
rule of fighting.
known, you know?
Isn't that kind of a universal rule of any sort of combat? You don't like boxing. They don't just punch a punching bag a bunch. They train with other people.
Mm-hmm. It's not just for show.
Because you can't simulate yet
And
accurately another combatant.
And you can't critique yourself either.
No.
You can't tell yourself if you're doing something wrong.
That's why people have trainers.
But you just
that left hook's looking a little. You're leaving yourself open, you know. I know a lot about fighting.
You've seen Rocky.
I've seen Rocky, and that's about it. That's all you need to know, right? You just get punched a lot, and then you punch them a couple times.
Adrian!
Those movies are pretty good, though.
Which one is the best Rocky, though?
Probably the first or second.
I would say the third.
Right? Third one's the Rush.
No,
that's fourth.
That one's not the best.
Well, that's why I was giving you a weird look. What's the third one? Second one is Tiger. Third one is with Mr. T, right?
What else do you need to know other than the Eye of the Tiger? I rest my case. Oh, here we go. Is this the flashback part?
I hope so.
Yep. This is the most offensive thing in this movie, without a doubt.
I went to confront him, and he turned on me.
Not only is Luke an attempted murderer, but he's also a liar. He's a pathological liar because he's deceiving not only Rey but possibly himself. Because it's implied that Kylo Ren's version of these events are the truth, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing is usually in a story like this you have
two parties and then
two parties and then you find out that it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. That's the truth. But in this, it's just Kylo Ren.
It's because Rian Johnson wanted to be as provocative as possible, but leave himself a backdoor in case everybody hated it, which they do. So,
we talked about how cartoony this movie is too, because like the house collapsed on him and they have like a hand shoot up. That's like something from like Toy Story.
Yeah.
Which
it looks like something that would happen in you remember the 2003 Clone Wars series?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like that series. Like it has some weird things.
But it is a cartoon.
Right.
It is a cartoon.
Like that would be something that would be totally in character for a cartoon to do.
It's like when we talked about the Full Metal Alchemist live action movie. It can't work in live action because they do stuff that doesn't translate.
What a design we have there.
Doesn't it all look like a Nebulon B?
You familiar with the term kit bash?
No.
It's what some filmmakers and like generally people who I know, right? People who make miniatures refer to it as when you like combine multiple kits by gluing things together.
Bash. Okay.
That's what that is. That's a kit bash.
When you said kit bash, which I still didn't know what it was, I was thinking it was one word and it was a Star Wars term, like a type of ship.
Oh no.
A kit bash.
A kit bash.
I feel like that could be
cool.
Or like an animal, a kit bash. That would be an animal or an alien race.
We have to get back to the kit bash. Now, as we learn later, since hyperspeed or like hyper light ramming is a thing, why didn't they just turn that frigate around and ram it into the fleet when it was almost out of fuel?
I'm really glad that her smartwatch has a built-in feature that tells her the fuel of a ship that's light years away.
Wouldn't they confiscate that too? And you generally don't get jail time for like parking illegally. Just pay a fine. Like, what? You might have to turn the air back on.
It's a bit hot.
I'm losing steam.
I don't want to miss a frame of this beautiful movie.
I know. This lousy, beautiful movie.
Poor Benicio del Toro. Why did he agree to be in this?
Why did Mark Hamill agree to be in this?
Well, yeah, but Benicio del Toro isn't like a part of the Star Wars universe.
So, this is a problem that I had. This was probably my biggest problem with Rogue One, actually, was just that it like took the initiative away from the good guys, if that makes sense. Like, what in this movie would be different if there's nothing in this movie that benefits from the contribution of the heroes. You know what I mean? They just kind of Mr. Magoo their way through life and everything works out because why? Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me.
I know everyone's brought it up before, but he just walks out in the cell.
Why was he just waiting in the cell?
Why was he just in there? We're never told that he just got in there, and even if he did, it's very convenient timing.
And he's not like, it's never implied that he's like a plant or something. It's just...
I mean, he's a traitor, but like, yeah, it's never implied that was always the case.
Did we miss a scene? Did they cut out the scene of BB-8 throwing the coins, or is that coming out?
Here.
Okay. Yeah.
But it does feel like we missed, because I feel like there was a scene where
This is like a cut version.
Is it?
I'm
mean,
pretty
it's a poor
sure.
quality version. This is dumb. I mean, how many coins did that guy put in BB-8? And BB-8 was like, this is fine, I'll just wait.
Also, apparently BB-8 is just hollow. Like, there's no electronics or anything in there.
Also fair point. Look at those hexagonal,
Yeah, there's a reason they make those circular, by the way. So that it's always at its widest point, so it can't flip at one of the largest angles and fall in. That's why they make those circular.
More you know.
So
if anyone's watching this, you've learned something.
Yep. So Canto Bight has a very dysfunctional sewer system. Is basically
it's
what
because
I'm saying.
they are dysfunctional.
Oh, it's metaphorical.
So part of the deep satire, the sharp stabbing
the
satire,
witty commentary. I hate this so much.
Once again, there was no setup for that.
There
was no setup that like they have a decoder rig that they.
But it's also
so
like
dumb.
There's no reason for them. Also, she's just straight up wearing the uniform of the Resistance. B, they're not like in a public area where they have to hide that. You know, like what purpose does that ring serve?
Right.
I hate this movie so much.
Another minor nitpick. The guards look like the troopers from Spaceballs, with the big helmets.
Again, this movie is a parody of itself. It's
more great green screen.
This looks like something from Tron.
The original Tron. Movie.
Nothing against the original Tron, but listen. I like how they're totally fine with trampling these people to death. And I mean, of course, they don't show it, but they're fine with risking
not
it.
trampling people to death. There's another weird testicle monster. I think Rian Johnson has a thing for baggy sacks of flesh.
I guess it's okay to kill all these people. They had it coming because they're evil capitalists. This is what you get. So did they not move the ship that was illegally parked? Because Finn just said the ship was on the beach. But they they didn't. Okay. Didn't get towed.
But then this doesn't, again, this movie is constantly nothing goes anywhere because they don't get to
they still
ship.
don't get to go back, What were those stickers? Did you see that?
It's like laptop stickers.
Come on.
They're mountain goats. Because, like, the thing with Benicio del Toro doesn't really go anywhere other than he betrays them.
It's like they were trying to do a Lando
so many
character.
plot lines get started and then they just don't go anywhere.
Boy, those things don't sound like rip-offs of Lats, do they?
No.
What? Why would you circle back around to what? Your destroyed shuttle?
Yeah, I mean, like, the entire cockpit was blown up. Oh, this one. Make them hurt.
Fuck off.
What do I gotta bleep that now?
PETA would be proud.
It's worth it. We killed a lot of people, but now it's worth it.
Yeah. See, killing capitalists is not enough. Killing capitalists and letting animals go, that's worth it.
These ships look so dumb, too. They're little hovercraft, because they're completely open air. Are you flying with
This guy has an incredible amount of, like, dedication for somebody who just betrays them on a whim later in the movie.
That's the other thing. He comes back for them, but he doesn't really have a reason to at this point, because in his eyes, they're just like in a prison cell. They could be anybody.
And it was never like promised. They never did the scene of like she's rich. You know, they never like had an incentive.
Because
for
that's
him.
Han's whole incentive in A New Hope is he wants that money.
Right.
That sweet, sweet money. That's his character arc.
So if they did that here, that would explain it, but they didn't.
Again, no need to fill in any sort of details. People will just, chew it up.
Hey, sister, remember me? I abandoned you 30 years ago. Any of this ringing a bell?
We still have an hour and a half.
Oof.
Plus some change because of
Oh, this scene.
faffing about.
I mean, I guess, is this more, does this promote gender equality, do you think? Because they don't have, a scene with a topless woman, at least, right?
I mean, could we just not do that at all in Star Wars? It's fine with me. We gotta see the full extent of his scars, though.
Yeah,
His
and all
manly
of that.
scars.
People have also talked a lot about how high his pants ride up, too. I just feel like we should touch on that.
He's being modest.
He just pulls them
He's
all the way over.
covering the essentials. The scene is beautiful. Uncle Luke, what are you doing in my room after hours? My parents said never to go with an uncle.
Ben, no!
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
Do you got any other slogans from, Hot Topic or anything?
I'm just gonna take a short nap.
Yeah, you basically can, because this scene does nothing. Yeah. So, what does this scene do?
Do you think JJ is gonna try to reincorporate some of the stuff, or do you think he's gonna? If is he gonna do what Rian Johnson did to him and just basically disregard everything?
Well, if he would incorporate some things from his own movie if he did that, because it would be like the reverse of this movie. Like, I know that it's not exactly not heavy-handed, Luke fighting Luke Vader in the cave on Dagobah, but I mean, I guess it could be described as trite, if you really wanted to, as that is. It had a purpose in the story, to show Luke of what his fears were and what he could become, But what does this scene do? What I'm honest question. What does this scene do?
Wow. She has some bad latency? I don't know.
Don't clap sync to that part. It's like I'm completely zoning out.
This is what the dark side feels like. It doesn't seem that bad.
Somebody should make a cut of this movie where there's no fluff and there's no extraneous scenes like this.
There isn't a movie because, as we just discussed,
Yeah.
all B plot. This is 100% a B plot.
Just one big B plot.
This is like a B plot within a B plot, though, because this in and of itself doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Her training doesn't go anywhere. Well, training is a strong word for Luke saying "go away" and her just like being
swinging
good
a
at things.
lightsaber around at a rock.
I don't understand how calling her a Mary Sue is controversial. Have we ever talked about this?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I have no problem with a female protagonist. Let me just say that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with the entire Luke Skywalker's... Not saying they should rehash it, but he gets his butt kicked, like, 3 times before he finally gets proper training. And even then, he's hasty and he leaves training. That's his entire story arc.
Yep.
She has 0 training. Literally 0 training.
Yeah, I don't know how you can
There's
make
not
an
even a
argument
montage.
that she isn't. Yeah, you're the best around. I mean, she basically is. Because, for some inexplicable reason... I just trimmed mine, actually. Thanks, though.
I needed to. I was getting bad. Figured this was a good opportunity to trim my nails. Can't cut them too short, though, because I get real bad ingrown nails.
Tell me more.
Well, isn't it still more interesting than this movie?
You don't want to watch these two finger touch each other? Did you hear what Rian Johnson said about this scene?
No.
He said that this is, quote, the closest that we'll get to a sex scene in a Star Wars movie.
He's weird.
Yeah.
He's very odd. I'm just saying, if you ever went on, like, his computer, you'd find some weird stuff. Doesn't he come across that way, though?
He just finds really, like, poorly drawn deviant art images of Rey and Kylo Ren.
I think he's into some tentacle porn.
Okay. I could see
I'm not
that.
joking. I legitimately think he is.
Here we see Luke Skywalker, the most powerful, or what should be the most powerful Jedi Master of all time.
Don't worry, I'm listening.
Getting whooped by a girl.
He's training her.
This would be a fine training sequence. Somebody could recut this as like apart from him getting.
Well, you could just say
his ass kicked.
He lets her or whatever. I mean, that's not really fair.
Like, this is such a. Look at how defeated.
We should have done is she could have him like at lightsaber point. I don't know how you want to say that more eloquently. And then he just like he's like you beat me or whatever, and then he just whips it out of her hand to show that she won, but he's still in control.
Like she won the play fight.
Right, exactly. But like
in this
ultimately,
one, it's like,
he's still better.
He was like actually in danger of dying just then. Like he basically could have died from hitting his head on the stairs, pretty much. I hate this so much.
I thought I could stop it by murdering him.
And
in
again,
cold blood while he's sleeping. This isn't even like confronting him being like Anakin, being like, nah, that ain't me, bruh.
But this isn't... his defense is that this is
sleeping.
One fleeting moment of instinct. But he went... He what was he planning to do? He walked all the way into his nephew's room.
He pulled out his lightsaber. But
this was obviously premeditated. If we were the court on whatever planet that Jedi Temple was on, that would be ruled a premeditated attempt at murder. The quality is getting worse, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I always wondered, what is she doing here? Is she offering the lightsaber to him?
I think she's offering
because
it.
Why would she point at
let
Blade
me point
first?
at Blade first.
Yeah.
And then it's like a prank right through his head. Okay, bye.
Alright. See you later, you failure. This movie almost isn't fun to riff on just because it's so depressing.
That's true.
Oh, you thought that was gonna be a lightsaber, huh? Joke's on you.
It's a weird flare torch thing. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god!
That's a guy from Star Wars.
Why does he look so weird, though?
He looks very weird. He doesn't look worse than the Phantom Menace Yoda.
Yeah. Did you
He
see
actually
that they
kinda looks
replaced the Phantom Menace Yoda with CGI? The same CG model that they used in Episode 2 and 3?
Really?
Yeah, there's
Oh.
like a new remastered version.
That's actually not a terrible idea.
I know.
Of all the things, that's not a bad edit. Because he looks real weird.
Question, why did Yoda not, like, visit him during, at, like, any point before this? To, like, try to get him back on the right path?
Didn't have the budget?
Also, this is universe breaking too, by the way. Letting Force ghosts interact with the physical world.
Seems like it's sort of...
People have talked about this too, but they have Yoda acting like an idiot, like the idiot that he was pretending to act like when he was testing Luke when they first met. There's no reason for him to act like this now.
I'm gonna turn the air on.
Yeah, please do.
Please.
I'll try to keep them entertained while you're gone. So I was in New Orleans last night. That's my stand-up routine.
Lying to the people?
The library contained nothing that the girl Ray did not already possess, and she's somehow not a Mary Sue. This is what we're being led to believe. Oh yeah, there's another instance of him interacting with the physical world. He hits Luke on the head. This was like the only rule that Force Ghosts had was that they can't interact with the physical world.
Ghosts. I'm legitimately losing steam.
We have to get at least to the hyperspace RAM.
I mean, we're gonna do it. This is gonna be the only other time I ever get the opportunity to watch this movie.
Yep, take it all in, soak it in.
Now, in 240p.
Let it die. Let the past die. I don't even want to comment. It's just
let it play. Let it shoot itself in the face.
I mean, you could have just asked him this before you were halfway across the galaxy. Again, this conversation should have come before he agreed to get on the ship with them, but whatever.
Why would you give it to him?
Was that... The, like, chain link was stiff there. Did you see that? Listen, that was petty, but okay.
We're not gonna talk about the stiff chain link. This is another stupid line.
Yeah, like, why did Finn think it was his ship? Did anybody in the theater, like, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure this out, does it?
But it's like, it's not even funny. It's the timing is all off and everything, so it's not like it's
not played for laughs or anything.
Well, I think it's supposed to be, but I think it fails.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this. I forgot about this too.
Deep content warning.
It's almost like someone who manufactures military equipment wants to sell military equipment.
Well, that means he's evil. Money is the root of all evil.
Okay, bye.
This is just unbelievably lame.
He sounds like he's proud of himself for that.
For having an entire
we picked
fleet
off
of
a
Star
ship
Destroyers,
out of fuel.
a entire fleet of Star Destroyers and Super Star Destroyers. We destroyed one frigate. Good job, guys.
Can I get really... can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Very specific. Traditionally, how does fuel work in Star Wars?
Well,
because
fighters...
this is the first that's it's ever been a thing.
Fighters have fuel.
Correct. That makes sense.
Right, because they're like planes, right?
Right.
But the capital ships use hypermatter generators.
Sure.
Traditionally, so they're like nuclear aircraft carriers. You would
Which,
never have
again,
to
makes sense.
quote unquote refuel them, except
because
in very
they're
rare.
Huge.
Yeah, like except for like nuclear aircraft carriers go for like decades in between
it's
refueling.
a long time.
You know, and so we can assume even if they only go decades, they would never have fuel in the sense that this movie uses the term
right. Correct.
fuel as. And also, there would be no crossover, because they say that you can use fuel from the capital ships to load fuel into these smaller ships. Yeah, we'll just siphon some of the nuclear out of the reactor and put it into the gas tank.
And
That's essentially what they're doing.
All of this could have been resolved by her telling him.
Yeah, why didn't she just say this? Because... Again,
now he's going to make everything more difficult.
Here's a cool
he thinks
thing.
You're a traitor.
What if she was a traitor? There's an idea. That would make kind of a cool subplot, right? Because then Poe would actually have an arc in this movie. But why would we want that?
He's like, I had to do it because it was the right thing to do. I had to stop the traitor.
And then
he was the only one who figured it out.
Yeah, and he would be kind of a hero. You know? Imagine that.
But no, he's just kind of a jerk. I mean, admittedly, he's doing the right thing from the audience's perspective, but he still ends up being kind of a jerk because movie.
The movie tells you that he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
Again, you know that concept in
but
filmmaking and storytelling in general is just like show, don't tell. That movie does not subscribe to this concept at all. And then like Holdo and Leia have that scene where they're like, "Oh, what a guy! He's such a fly boy." It's like, no, he held you at gunpoint because he thought you were a bad guy. What a quirky little individual that guy is.
We almost lost everything. Actually, we pretty much did lose everything. What a quirky guy.
Also, it's funny how they send more TIE fighters to intercept this one little pod than they do to go after the entire Resistance fleet.
It's almost like someone doesn't understand how anything works.
So I'm here now.
I'm so glad we finally met in person.
Can we get a counter for the number of times he's blinked, too? What the fuck does that mean?
Looking at approach should be after scopes.
All right.
No wacky scene where they're in a Tidarium.
That's just a thing you can do, I guess.
I need to be worried about that. So they got real close to those engines. I feel like those engines are putting out some serious exhaust.
It's funny too because it's like both of them are wrong in this scenario.
Well, in the previous scene, he also accused her of being a traitor, which is a pretty serious accusation. And then they're, which you'd think she'd be a little more standoffish, but they're just chatting like normal pals. Yeah, once again, in our mind, and maybe at some point we'll do it. This was an idea I had a while ago. That looks like an iron.
It is an iron. Don't remember that funny joke?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
That looks like an iron. Again, this is straight up Spaceballs level rating right there. Like, that's not even a bad joke necessarily, but that's not a joke you put in a real movie, you know? That's a parody. Yeah. That's parody writing.
Because the scene isn't really funny without the context of, you know, Spaceballs, where everything's wacky. What was I saying? Saying something very important, very enlightening. This is dumb.
It's like Solid Snake too, because it's like the only reason that droid noticed them is because they were trying to hide.
Right.
Like if.
But once again, Solid Snake is self-aware of the fact that it's ridiculous.
Would a regular like BB-8 type droid be out of place on a like?
That's not black, so yes.
I saw the shape of your future.
What was it, like a square? Was it a circle? I don't know what this means. I don't understand. I'm not familiar. Does not compute. Oh, yeah, so an idea for future video. Future series, potentially. Would be like, we make our own, we fix movies.
Is The Last Jedi fixable? Do you think?
Well, no, but I feel like the whole traitor plot would at least, I don't know, we would have to have some sort of rule where you have to keep certain aspects. Because otherwise it's not fair, because then you're just basically
making a new
like, maybe you can't really, I don't know. But
we'd have to set up ground rules.
Yeah. But having her actually be a traitor and have like a Die Hard style where he has to like find allies and he has to like hide in the ship and they have like you couldn't draw it out, but they like
and then like
they
Finn and Rose wouldn't know about that, you know, and so like they would come back and they would be caught in the crossfire and not know who to trust.
They would spring the trap. It would at least be more interesting than this, because again, this movie, it sets up a bunch of things and none of them go anywhere. This is so weird too.
They can't decide if they want him to be a good guy or a bad guy either, because they keep trying to make him like have endearing moments, but then he just betrays them at the end. So it's like, all right,
right? It's so wishy-washy. Morality soup.
Is the First Order symbol not centered on her hat?
The uniforms look so weird with the upturned
little wings,
the wingdings, or wingdings.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they cut that out. The original line, because that's the first time.
He didn't say it though.
Well, yes.
So it's still screwed up. I mean, for posterity's sake, still screwed up.
But I'm pretty sure they tried to cover that up.
I think it's weird that there's no other loyalists
so
to her.
Lame too. Also, they didn't confiscate her gun. Is one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah.
Like, you're a traitor to the Resistance. Just stand over there with all your friends and your gun. It's fine.
Don't worry, we'll just stand here. And just, there's no other loyalists to her. Like, everyone seems either neutral or I don't know. But no one's on the bridge.
And no one in the hangar
technically, this isn't the bridge. This is the new bridge, but...
Nobody in the
hangar... Isn't that weird, too? No one's on the bridge to, like, fight them? You know, there's no sequence where they have to, like, storm the bridge. You know? Mm-hmm. Because... they're in the minority, presumably. Everyone isn't like, yeah, she's a traitor, right?
And this whole technology is so stupid because, again, they could have explained it as them having a mole. This is why you could fix so much of this movie just by having Admiral Holdo be a First Order mole.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to introduce this whole subplot. You could even have them, like, be confused about this.
Yeah.
You know, like, can they track us through hyperspace? You know? But it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a bad plot thread. The problem is, I think there should be...
It can't be real, though.
It's like in doubt, and then they're like... it's not real. And
Yeah.
then they realize, because maybe right before that there's a scene where it, like, definitively somehow Holdo is able to cast doubt on whether or not she's a traitor, and they're like, well, maybe she's not. And then they realize that hyperspace tracking isn't a thing, and they're like, crap, we gotta deal with this. But then maybe it's too late, and she's already done something to endanger everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you still want to have your dire and depressing ending. Also, guns look weird in this, or the circle bolts. I don't remember them looking like that in this movie.
Also, they don't really knock you back either.
Yeah, they throw you across the room. But a lot of things do that. The shock weapon that Rose has throws him across the room, too. Yeah, this is so weird. Literally 5 canonical minutes ago, you were being held at gunpoint by his friends because he thought you were a traitor.
He tried to mutiny your
seems
vessel.
Seems like a good idea. It's like people just get accused all the time of being a traitor. It's like you're just such a traitor, Don. You're such a traitor.
It's a term of endearment in the Resistance.
Well, I mean, you can look how well they're functioning.
I hate this so much.
Doesn't that seem like from a parody too?
It just
like
doesn't even seem real.
Poor Carrie Fisher.
No part of this movie works.
I remember feeling that this was the end of the movie in the theater.
Uh-huh.
There's still a whole hour left.
Also, they keep bringing up this I don't know if they have said it yet or if they will say it shortly, but something about cloaking. They said it earlier about, like, we're off their screens.
Yeah.
What? Okay, whatever.
Benicio del Toro's ship. He was like, well, we're cloaked. They can't see us with their sensors.
And they do that with the little transports, too. They say something about, we're off their screens or something.
No, they say they're not looking for them.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is really weird, because you don't think that they would be trying to jettison escape pods? Considering they can't get away from you? This is so dumb. This movie is just a constant train wreck, isn't it?
Again, there's really
every
no
time
part
you
of
think
this.
every time you think it's over and the train is coming to a stop, it just barrels over another set of tracks and another train.
And they had no reason for the handcuffs being in this movie other than to replicate the scene from Jedi where the Emperor takes the cuffs off Luke. It's like, this is the scene that I always bring up when people are like, well, you stupid fanboys hated Force Awakens because it wasn't original enough, and then you hated Last Jedi because it was too original. It's like, what part of this scene is original?
It's the throne room scene.
Are you people touched? Like,
I've been touched by fate.
Looks like he's been doing a little bit of touching. I don't even know why he wants to kill Luke. It's not like Luke's been impeding him.
It's not like Luke is leading, causing a lot of problems. Maybe another, interesting, maybe they're harassing little systems. They don't go after the big ones, how they did Thrawn.
It, like how they did it in the original continuity.
Was it Hit and Fade? Is that what they called them?
Hit and Fade attack, yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Hit and Fade and Sardonically are both phrases that Timothy Zahn loves.
Such a good trilogy.
I'm not saying it's not.
No, I know. They just, yeah. The mineral planet. Heavily armored is probably not. Our big ship.
There it is. They're not monitoring for little transports.
Yep.
What?
And that's not even I'm a nerd, so I know that that's not how the technology works. That's just a common sense thing.
Right. If they want it to not work like that, then they have to establish that earlier in the movie.
When aircraft carriers are sailing around, they can only scan for other aircraft carriers. They can't scan for subs or anything. They're literally completely blind to anything else floating in the ocean.
This is also an interesting line to me because she says Godspeed Rebels.
Does she really?
What does that mean in the
I actually
Star
didn't
Wars
catch
universe?
that.
Shouldn't it be like Force Speed Rebels or something like that?
Yeah. Does she say that?
Yeah, she just said that. Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, here we get the weird pedophile Hux.
Oh yeah, he like...
Is that a cutscene? I think that might be a deleted scene. We'll have to put some footage of that in here. Everybody looks so fucking retarded.
She called him a lying stink.
Lying. I think she said lying snake because you see it's like poetry. It rhymes because Rey called Kylo a lying snake earlier in the movie. That's the highest insult in the Star Wars universe. You lying snake.
Godspeed. I'm really caught up on that.
A decloaking scan.
It's like Stargate, but bad.
I think I've talked about this before, but how did he know? How did the Benicio del Toro know Holdo's plan when not even Poe knew Holdo's plan? How did he know to tell them to run a decloaking scan? It's so stupid.
Maybe because he's not completely stupid?
Also, it's funny how the Super Star Destroyer is better at destroying these little, like essentially transport aircraft than destroying, another battleship, which is what battleships and dreadnoughts
also,
do.
Acting. You hear her say full speed to nothing because it's CGI, so she was just shouting to nothing.
Everybody is really bad at focusing their eyes on holograms in this too. Yeah. That's a minor complaint, but it's like
we just put a green stick.
Yeah.
Look at this mark on the green stick.
Everybody looks really cross-eyed. Also, I just want to talk about Snoke pulling her around and stuff and pushing her.
It looks really weird.
Well, it's also not really it doesn't really make sense in continuity because this is a weird thing too. This is a Harry Potter thing. Force users, and this is not something that I just it's not that I like rules, it's that this is how it has to work to make the things that we see on screen make sense.
Well, you have to have internal logic, and
Force,
there at least has to be some sort of explanation.
So the canon is that Force users have their own protective Force shield that prevents them from being manipulated by the Force to this extent. So you shouldn't really be able to push another supposedly super powerful Force user around this much, you know? Right. You can certainly push them, but you would technically be pushing the air around them. You know what I mean?
Yes, and it sounds a little bit silly, but it does make sense because you can't have two fights. Otherwise, the fights would just be them pushing each other.
Yeah, or turning an opponent's lightsabers off.
Right.
So again, it's not that I just like rules. It's just that this is how it must work.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to establish internal logic.
Right. And he can
just otherwise someone would say, well, how come they don't just turn each other's lightsabers off?
Right. And he can just basically immobilize her. Like Kylo does this earlier. He does this to Poe Dameron in Force Awakens. That is fine because Poe Dameron is not a Force user, right? Mm-hmm. But if she's the new chosen one or whatever, you shouldn't be able to do this. I'm just...
Cannot be beaten. Well...
Famous last words.
Well, not famous. More infamous. Also, the dialogue in this is so hammy. I see you turning the lightsaber to strike true. There's no double meaning in that at all.
Also, why does he mean kills his true enemy? It's he was trying to be purposefully ironic.
That's what it's so weird. People always say this is a really great scene, too.
We have to watch for there's a continuity error where one of the Red Guard's knives disappears in between a shot of him fighting Rey. We're going to have to watch for that. This scene, again, people say this is a great scene. This is the worst choreography I've ever seen in a Star Wars movie. By far. Well, look at this.
Those guys, did you see those guys just run away?
Yeah, they just wait.
They stop, they look around and then they walk off the screen. No, because I know I've heard that and I was like, well, maybe I just wasn't remembering well.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're watching it. Yeah, the one in the foreground even. It's not even like one of the background ones. The one in the foreground spins around, does a 360, stops, looks like offset, presumably at someone, I don't know, choreographing, and then just walks off.
And there are so many instances of them swinging.
And she just stops attacking him.
Swinging their weapons at the opponent's weapon instead of at their opponent. This is another big thing.
Yeah.
Like, what was that guy doing? Like, okay, I'm gonna have to.
That thing looks stupid.
Well, these definitely were made to sell toys.
I gotta get all 4 different red guards. One of them's got the nunchucks, one of them's got the spear, and the other one's got the spear that can come 2 spears. Two knives.
Also, it's weird too because it's like they're again. That's another really cartoony shot that
Yeah.
I like. He just explodes, but like, okay, I think it's this guy. Yeah, I think it's the guy with the 2 knives, or one of them disappears.
Those nunchucky things seem like they'd be really ineffective and dangerous for non-force users.
Well, it seems like we would need a secondary weapon. Is the thing because you
Still
could
got
use
2
it to
knives.
control the blade of your enemy, but you also again. This is like another weird rock paper scissors thing is that their armor can resist their own weapons, but it can't resist lightsabers.
I was gonna bring that up.
And
yeah.
their weapons can resist lightsabers. Oh, but that guy's armor could resist the lightsaber
gauntlets?
very briefly. Like, do you see how obviously that guy was swinging at the air in front of Kylo Ren? Yeah, watch this. Watch this.
Wait. Oh,
See-
there
you
it goes.
see it?
It's gone.
Incredible. How much was the budget for this? $250 million?
Yep. Yeah. Wow. It's not even like back in a future.
Wow, best scene in the
People
movie.
cheered at that.
Mhm,
Too.
they clapped. It was like basically almost a standing ovation in the theater.
Like, it's not the worst fight scene I've ever seen in any movie.
It's the worst in a Star Wars movie.
Well, I just said any movie very much on
Yeah.
purpose.
But I mean, is there a worse one in the Star Wars cinematic universe?
Jar Jar Binks.
The Battle of Jar Jar Binks.
Well, Jar Jar Binks faffing about, you know?
I would disagree. Jar Jar Binks is a much funnier character than we've ever had before, and it's stylistically designed to be that way.
Sure is.
So this is another thing that I want to bring up about, like, people who say that, you know, we should like this movie because it's original, quote-unquote. Kylo Ren's entire arc in this movie is supposedly let the past die, right? This is the most quoted phrase that defenders of this movie say. But why is the Empire not part of the past that he wants to let die? Why does he just want to... Why is the Rebels bad,
Yeah.
but Empire good?
The Jedi, all that stuff's bad, but, you know, the Nazis... 10 out of 10.
This is okay. We don't want to let this part of the past die.
It's just all part of the thoughtful commentary, social commentary.
Yeah. Topical. Again, just spitting on The Force Awakens in this scene. It's just such a shame that we can't enjoy this movie because we're just terrible fanboys.
Yeah.
If only we weren't such fanboys. Maybe we'd be okay with all of these unresolved plots.
I'm really starting to zone out.
The first time when we were watching this in the theater, I thought that what she was going to do was, like, position herself in between the
Yeah,
Super
as
Star
a
Destroyer.
shield.
Yeah, to shield them. That would have been fine. She would have still ended up sacrificing herself. So
Speaking
they still
of
would've...
internal logic,
Yeah, this is the biggest internal
I
logic.
don't even think we really have to go into it. It's pretty straightforward. I
Yeah.
don't know. People still defend it though.
Yeah. My favorite defense of this is they're like, oh, well, you can't do this with a normal ship. It's because that Mon Cal ship has experimental shielding. What?
Sure. That's called plot convenience.
But how would that even help? Like,
it's bad. It's worse at shielding, or something.
So if you have experimental shielding, that means that you can.
This part's dumb.
Hyperspace ram things.
Speaking of letting the past die.
It's funny too because hyperspace ramming doesn't even make sense. Because again, Galactic Civil War is World War II. Ramming isn't really a thing in naval warfare. Like, it was a little bit of a thing during the Civil War. It came back, but, like, other than that,
these
it was
axes seem like they'd be really ineffective.
It was really only a thing during ancient
because
warfare.
They would cut 2 pieces. You have to clean up 2 pieces of a human, or, well, 3 pieces of a human. Wouldn't you just want to clean up 1? Or 2? Math is hard.
The scene.
I'll give them as visually it looks cool.
Well, visually it's just a rip-off of the seismic charge. I've said this before, but this scene is not even consistent in terms of its visuals.
Everything is so convenient and so cartoony. She's really phoning it in compared to Kylo. He's really giving it his all with the facial
He looks like
expressions.
the veins are bulging out of his head. There it is. Shot heard round the world. And they weren't even content,
though. Yeah,
they weren't content with just destroying the Super Star Destroyer either.
Yeah,
it's like again, it's just this weird convenience stuff. It's like how the bombers all explode into each other.
Right.
It's like
they managed to take out like eight Star Destroyers in one hit. I don't know how.
It's experimental shielding, actually. It's because of the experimental shielding.
That's right. Remember how we brought Phasma back? Fan favorite Phasma. She does a lot. It's essential. Essential to the story is what I would say.
Uh-huh. Such a multi-dimensional character, too. They never really cover where she was in space and time between this moment and the next. She was standing right next to them as the Holdo...
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, BB-8 can just control...
This is the part of the movie that spawned the world's worst Lego set. What is it, like $50 for just a headless ATRT? Or not ATRT, ATST?
Ooh. It's gonna be a black mark on the record.
I corrected myself.
These guns look really dumb, too.
They look like
Nerf guns.
Yeah. They have, like,
the white and black thing is just not doing it. It looks like low-budget sci-fi.
Yeah.
They're really like
totally
energy weapons.
Biffed that guy. What was that guy shooting at? Did you see that stormtrooper in the background? He, like, sighted up on something. But...
Is it BB-8, maybe?
No, he was pointing, like, the other way. He was pointing...
That seems like it should have done some damage.
This is confusing.
The pointy end with that stick just went right across his face.
I always wonder, is her stick supposed to be like a stun staff, or is it just a stick?
I think it's just a stick.
Okay.
She brought a non-stun stick to a stun stick fight. I don't know where I was going with that.
Also, I find it weird how the non-lethal stun baton can damage her armor, but lethal blaster bolts can't.
Yeah. And not like electrify her armor, literally damage it, just blow a little section right off there.
Oh, we missed the best line in the movie there. You're just scum.
Oh yeah.
Rebel scum. Kill yourself.
Do you think she's not dead? She's just floating in space.
I can't wait to see her come back in episode 9.
Oh, this movie. How are they gonna get off an exploding ship? Super easy, apparently, an inconvenience.
There's your
like
villain.
A cow.
There's the big bad of this trilogy.
Do you think JJ is gonna do a thing where that's not really Snoke, or do you think Snoke is that?
I I mean, I would be open to anything at this point.
I guess. I mean, I obviously don't really have any hopes, but at this point, the crazier the better, is what I say.
Yeah.
You've already blown it. Unless you start retconning things, like lots of things, your universe is bad. So just have some fun with it.
Just
Let's
keep running.
see
it
how many
into the
people we
ground.
can piss off before we go out in style. You know what I mean? Take everybody down with you.
And this scene is also very confusing to me. He says,
Yeah.
"You want to command my army," but then he says immediately after that, "We have no ruler."
Yeah. No, I know.
What?
Again, the movie doesn't actually know what Hux's role is. It's both something and nothing. It's both leader and groveling idiot. He reminds me a lot of a Harry Potter. It's probably the British accent.
Wasn't he actually in Harry Potter?
Was he?
I think so, right?
Hold on, let me do some research.
Yeah.
What's it? Do you know his name?
No.
I know he was in Peter Rabbit.
Well, that was a movie?
Oh yeah, he's the bad man. They the rabbits poison him. He has a peanut allergy. This is the side thing. I've not actually seen the movie, but there's this whole thing. It was kind of controversial because the rabbits give him peanuts knowing that he's allergic to peanuts. So it's not like that they have a fun rivalry. They're trying to kill him via allergy.
What the fuck are you talking about right now?
Peter Rabbit.
Oh, of course.
His name is Domhnall Gleeson.
Wasn't he in Harry Potter?
I'm looking. He was in Ex Machina.
Okay, maybe not.
He was in an episode of Black Mirror. He is in a... Oh, he's a Weasley brother.
I thought so, yeah.
Huh. The more you know. Alright. I try to forget the Harry Potter movies.
I have never seen any of the Harry Potter movies, so...
To be fair, I was sort of not paying attention for most of them.
Just trying to save face.
No, they're not very good. They're worse than the books. And I know that means a lot to you. That's also a thing, apparently, that people are aware of.
Well, what I don't understand is why would you make walkers that... I mean, they don't look that cool, but they look cooler than just a big cylinder laser. The walkers specifically have, like, artillery on their backs. Why not just use those to shell? Why does everything need to be the biggest thing ever seen? Like...
This movie is everyone just buying time for everyone else.
What a great pep talk,
because Leia was just like, or Holdo or whatever, whoever, interchangeable, was like, we have to buy time. And for Finn and Rey. A
lot of time bought.
Finn and Rose, and then now they're like, we need to buy more time for ourselves.
Oh, that's the director of Rogue One, by the way. In the trenches there.
Yeah.
Fun fact. I also like this.
Yeah. This is a classic.
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
Is it Edgar Wright?
No, Gareth Edwards.
Right, because Edgar Wright was the original.
Because they can't keep a director.
No, what is with that?
Because they have... I like that scene because they want to prove specifically that this isn't a ripoff of Hoth, even though that it is. They're like, guys, don't worry, it's not snow.
It's salt.
It's actually salt, so you can all shove it, hater Nazis, okay?
They've thought of everything. There's no plot holes in this movie.
Yeah, it's a plot hole-less movie.
I know they're trying to go for, like, the quirky, like, this is all we have no weapons, but come on, guys. Let's fly at the things with all the weapons with no weapons.
But, like, what are they gonna do? What is the plan?
Again, this also plays into this movie's trope of of weird imbalances in power, but they still win.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't work for the underdog thing because it's just bad.
They have to have some chance, you know?
Right.
Like, there's such a thing as asymmetric
this
warfare.
Isn't crafty.
But this is not even warfare. This is just like...
I remember we talked about this after we saw the movie, but, like, they're not even being crafty. They're literally flying at a wall of death.
Well,
they don't have a plan.
It's like they never even established whether these speeders have guns or... Like, when I saw the trailer, I was, like, we were trying to speculate, like, what could these things be for? Like, oh, maybe they, like... do a smoke screen or something, you know?
Well, that's what I said.
Or
I thought they were going to go across and kick up a bunch of dust.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a great plan.
No, but I mean, it would be something.
It's a plan. But, like, look.
What are they doing? Like, one of the things that I came up with, which was really stupid, admittedly, but I thought that it was possible, was that they were going to, like the surface of this planet was going to be, like, a really thin substrate. Mm-hmm. And so they would use the little skis on the bottom of those things to, like, cut holes around... cut holes around the walkers. And so the walkers would fall through and die. Like, that would be really stupid, but it's better than what's going on right now.
It's still somehow better than this. Because they're, right now, I don't know if you're watching this at home, but they're just getting picked off by fighters, and the fighters the guys piloting those must be like, this is the easiest thing ever. They're not even fighting back.
Yeah, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Until there's one enemy ship, which is the Falcon.
Also, they deploy way more fighters to take out these apparently unarmed speeders than they do to take out the entire Resistance fleet earlier. It just, there's so little...
Weird imbalances.
So little sense.
Gotta get that nostalgia in there. Remember when Luke was gunning in one of those? in that one? Oh, this movie. My toes are growing
What good
again.
will that do? I'm legitimately curious. Like, what was Rian Johnson's vision for this scene?
I mean, I think we're looking at it.
Do we ever see any of them even attempt to fire at a walker? Like, they don't even do...
No, I don't think they have weapons canonically.
They don't even do
They're
the
mining
scene.
ships.
They don't
Why
even...
do they have weapons on them?
They don't even do the scene of, like, the armor's too strong for blasters or something. You know? They don't even try it.
I'm honestly kind of surprised they don't just use tow cables. Do you see the TIE fighters disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they were disappearing into smoke. I think they just disappeared. Popped out of existence.
Also, that guy ran into nothing. Also, it's funny how the TIE fighters explode
Yep,
as soon as they run into something, but the Falcon can crash through things, whatever.
Because it's bigger.
Also, yeah, remember these weird, like, spider
Oh, I just figured they were
tank
treads.
walkers?
I just figured they were treads.
There was a Lego set released of those. And
wait, really?
Yeah, and I thought they were going to be a more major thing than they were in the movie. But I think that somebody was like, these look retarded, so we're going to cut these.
It's a square. Like everything else.
Well, what did you expect?
Well, all the unarmed ships are getting gunned down. We're outnumbered like 20-1.
Our 16
we're taking heavy losses.
Going up against the entire army.
And other obvious things.
I mean, the entire army that's in control of the galaxy now. Our 16 unarmed speeders aren't making a lot of headway. Weird, right?
I mean, this would make a great movie, but wouldn't they be better off running the other way with these things?
It's not like they're slowing them down either. Like, they landed so far away that it's gonna take them
That's
like
the other weird thing.
2 hours to get there. Like, I get it's for cinema, like it's a conceit of cinema.
Again, yeah,
but,
fine.
But it has to make sense, you know.
Oh boy, here it comes.
Okay, this is undoubtedly the best line in the movie. Rose's line that's coming up here. Again, everything the heroes do in this movie is just completely undercut. Nobody makes any progress.
It's completely worthless, yeah.
I thought that they were actually going to kill Finn off, and I was like, you know what? I actually respect that. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Because that's an arc for his character. They brought back his cowardice in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, this is him overcoming that. That is a character arc.
Right, to prevent them from dying. And he's the only one who can make it, kind of thing. I really don't like this movie. I wouldn't redeem this movie. It would have been a fair decision.
Right.
And it maybe would have had a little bit of emotional impact. But no.
Fucking Rose.
Let's just kill both of us.
Got sweet slide, though.
He teleports so far back, too. This movie doesn't understand how time and space work. Specifically space,
yeah.
But...
They never explain how Finn and Rose get back to, like, friendly lines either.
because
like,
they are right next to him.
Like...
Oh, there's a little baby walker. I never noticed that.
Also, in much the same way that they just have capital ships with no support ships or fighter cover, they have walker. They have, like, heavy armor with no infantry. It's like there aren't any stormtroopers that go in front of the armor here.
I saved you. Yeah, but you just completely fucked everybody else over.
That's how we're gonna win. Oh, get your cyanide pills ready, boys.
But wouldn't saving everyone else in the resistance... He looks so, like, raped. He looks like he's like, listen, I don't feel the same.
I don't see you that way.
For real, though, it would have been so much better if he sacrificed himself to prevent... Let's go in and
would have actually
rewrite.
changed something. It's funny because this was, like, their whole plan.
Yeah.
Nothing comes of it.
Again, nothing. That is this entire movie.
Every plot point of this just ends with no resolution.
Well, that was the other thing, is I thought, oh, somebody's going to come to save them. It's going to be like a handful of ships. They're going to come from behind and just decimate the enemy line because the enemy's not expecting it. They're not scanning for things behind them. But still, it's still better than... Nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Literally nothing, which is what this movie
They're all just like,
doing.
Nah, that's okay. We're not really a part of this anymore.
It's funny. It's funny too because they're all like high on themselves. Like, we'll be the spark that lights the fire that burns the First Order down. It's like nobody wants to help us. Sorry.
All the friends. Are you aware of the fact that there's still like 40 minutes left of this movie?
No.
Well, I mean,
really?
minus credits, but because isn't it like 2:45? I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't. Let's not think about that. Think happy thoughts.
2 hours and 32 minutes. Okay, it's not as long as I thought it was. I'm sorry I ever signed a contract.
I'm sorry I'm not actually here right now. Because I'm a coward and an attempted murderer.
Can I talk about how this doesn't make any sense either? The whole...
Yeah, please.
Not
please
really
do.
Luke. Because if he's gonna die, why doesn't he just die in person? So we at least get some stakes in our battle? Because a battle between a not real person, a projection of a person, and a real person has 0 stakes.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny too because they were like... It would have been exactly the same if he would have just fought Kylo and sacrificed himself to buy time or whatever. But then they just don't do that.
And people
make
are like,
something stupid
the fight
and then
is
have
really
the exact
cool.
same ending.
But it doesn't mean anything. The fight isn't cool because he's not there. Kylo is fighting air.
I thought they were going to do the scene of him like lifting the X-Wing out of the water too. You know, because they ripped so much else off. They could have just explained it as like, oh, he flew back in his X-Wing or whatever.
Again, anything is better. Because it doesn't really go
People
anywhere.
laughed at that part too, where he winks at 3PO.
He winks at 3PO?
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're here, because
this would be so epic if we cared about any of these characters. It's like, stop, we were moving in the first place.
It'll take us about 3 hours to get to the gate, sir. There is no resistance. Literally no resistance.
Hey-o.
Yeah.
Does Kylo not know that the lightsaber broke? Like, did he not see that? This was something that I was wondering when I first saw this.
That's the other thing. I forgot about that, yeah.
Because how does he not figure this out when he sees that Luke has the lightsaber that was previously broken?
That he just broke?
Yeah.
People went nuts for this too.
And they laughed a lot when he did brush his shoulder off.
Again,
that?
It would have been semi-epic. Well, I'm not gonna say epic. It would have been semi-interesting if he was there. Again, there's 0 stakes.
Mm-hmm.
This only works the first time you see it, and even then, it doesn't because it's terrible. But you know what I mean. Once you know that he's not there, it's like, well, now there's no stakes. And also, anyone who didn't call it when he's not dead after that is stupid.
Right. Also, it's like Kylo is supposed to be the completely the villain that you're not supposed to be able to relate to at all at this point in the movie, right? But he legitimately looks traumatized by the fact that his uncle tried to murder him in his sleep. Like, why do we never get a resolution of that part of the movie?
I don't know why he would be traumatized by that. I mean, that's a pretty normal thing. Didn't your uncle come into your bedroom at night and try to kill you?
I thought you were something else was going to come after the coming into your bedroom at night.
That was the joke. Thanks for ruining it. See, again,
slapstick.
He was kind of taking control, and then just, let's whip him into a...
No, you don't.
They're just walking through all the fire. And back, they're like, no, it's okay. She's too far gone. He's like, no, I've got a pulse. They're like, no, it's too late. They just, put a pillow over her head.
It's like, she just has a paper
what are you
cut.
doing? They're like, shh. Look at those pants. He's got some wide pants.
He looks like a pirate, or something.
It's like the episode of Seinfeld with the puffy shirt.
Oh, good reference.
I'm sorry, it's escapism. Look at that, only 1% CPU usage.
This is using the hardware codec too.
Uh-huh.
I hate this part too, because why wouldn't he say yes? Did you come back to say you're sorry? Yeah, yes. Like, why?
No, he's a bad guy.
He doesn't even try to redeem him. Again, going back to the thing about Darth Vader. He tries to redeem Darth Vader.
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
And even when he's had 30 years to think about this, he's still like, no, you're worthless.
But see, it's not even like it didn't work with Darth Vader. He already has the data to back up that it's possible with the guy who was dictator of the galaxy. Well, you know what I mean. But and suddenly your nephew with just what does he say? How does he say it? Like a glimpse of evil or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like a marginal amount, even from this movie's own dialogue. He's just like, nah, he's too far gone. Gotta kill him.
How much they pay you for that line, Rian Johnson?
Toy money. Do they have... they've got to.
Probably.
They gotta have some Crystal Fox.
I feel like those ones are probably like the really expensive replicas. Like those you can't just get. You get the poor plushies,
Black Series or whatever.
Also, I like this part too because the movie has been setting Poe up to be like. It's weird because they can't decide if they want him to be a bad guy or a good guy again. Like, do they want him to be a mutineer,
thank goodness
traitor,
for that beacon,
or do they want him to be just a lovable flyboy hotshot with a few, downsides?
He's apparently been completely forgiven for all that too, by the way.
Well, Leia just said you follow him. Yeah. He's the new leader of the Resistance. Again,
what a guy.
Character
what a
arcs.
Guy.
What are they? How do they work?
How do they know to follow the foxes?
Yeah, again, there's a lot of communication that takes place in this that has no explanation.
This is a fun sequence as well.
Oh, yeah,
By fun, I mean mind-numbingly boring.
And fun, and also original. That's the best part about it. We almost got through this entire movie without saying the phrase "subvert your expectations" once, though.
Wow. Yeah, completely original concept, and also we had to have another roadblock to up the stakes. These guys aren't 1,000 billion miles away. That's like no one's chasing them at this point.
Uh-huh.
They're like an hour away from the gate.
He just like Neo's this too.
Yeah.
I don't know why the sequel trilogy hates lightsaber fights so much.
Yeah, no one touches. They're all against touching lightsabers, you know? Jedi phobic. We're gonna cut that out.
That's staying in. What a believable shot.
Also,
Oh.
you know how slow-mo is always good to use in movies?
And tasteful.
Both the uses of slow-mo in this movie, very tasteful.
He's like, I failed you, but then
I'm
he's like...
sorry.
But then he says that he wasn't there
That's
to
what I was
apologize.
going to say. He wasn't there to apologize, but he just apologized. It's almost like it's only the first draft of this movie.
A lot of people gasped in the theater after that line too, like, oh, my heart's given out. What a line.
People really had a... These are a lot of trailer shots. I'm surprised they weren't in the trailer. I don't think they were.
Well, they couldn't
People's
have given
faces
away.
Looking at things.
Yeah, such a climactic finish as this.
Oh my gosh, how would we ever have gotten around this obstacle of some rocks? We don't have explosives.
Yeah.
There's no way we could go back and get some explosives. It's like I sense you cheating on me. He's like, listen, Rose and I, it's not a thing. There was no consent.
Yeah, this part has never been done either before. It's funny because they also have Kylo put in exactly the same situation with every one of the original cast members, you know?
And he tries to kill all of them.
Yeah. And inexplicably he doesn't try to kill Leia, but then that's in the middle of the other two. You know what I mean? Like he can bring himself to kill his dad, but then he can't bring himself to kill his mom, but then he can bring himself to... He just like flip-flops back and forth so many times.
Oh my gosh.
What a twist.
I can't hold this form for very long.
What a film.
It'd be funny if it weren't so sad. The immortal words of Gladys. When they had him falling, I thought they were going to do the Obi-Wan thing where he turns into just robes.
They do that. It's just later.
I don't remember that. Oh, his face is so red. It's like a lobster.
Do you notice how this part is like poetry, though? Because it rhymes. There are two suns. Remember, what other planet could they be referencing? This film is a disgrace.
You know how Leia didn't use any of her... Okay, yeah, I remember this now.
Are there not two suns? I remember that in the
There are. I think it's right when he collapses.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Leia never developed her force powers other than to sense that Luke is dying.
Yeah. It's the only thing that she's connected to.
This is all I need.
And inexplicably saving herself from asphyxiation in space.
Well, and it's not like Jedi are overwhelmingly common where it's like, everybody's a Jedi. That's a pretty unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or especially now, in this time period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see an overwhelming number. So you think Luke would be like, we need all of them we can get, you know what I mean?
What was that hand wave for? Oh, he's just telling the stormtroopers to wait outside. Okay.
Yeah, jeez. Jeez. It was a weird angle. It looked like he was going to touch the door.
Yeah. I thought he was, like, pulling something.
This movie is almost over. I'm so excited.
Yeah. This is my favorite part of the movie.
The part where it's not happening anymore.
It's funny how those stayed around after Luke died, isn't it?
And also they were a hologram too, because I mean I know they had to be because he wasn't physically there, but still, why does that stop the movie? I forgot they hadn't met.
This is another one of those things where they flip-flopped, like,
Yeah.
during the same movie. The Jedi texts, they're really important. Just kidding. No, they're not. Let's burn them to the ground.
There's
Just
nothing
kidding.
she needs to know in them.
They're actually really important. We'll save them.
Yeah. I think that was added post, like way post. That little sequence there.
Why?
I think somebody at HQ was like, no, we still need to have those. So they're like, fine, we'll have a split second where so that if they decide not to use them later, they don't have to, because it's like a split second, you know. It's just a weird thing to add back in after you burn it.
Doesn't that undercut the Yoda scene? Like,
oh, 100%, yeah. It's weird.
We have everything we need. 12 guys and a broken lightsaber.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, including R2 and C-3PO.
Oh, I forgot about this part.
Yeah, this part is a comedic genius. Unintentional comedy is the subtitle of this movie.
It's funny, too, because, like, they still consider Luke to be a hero. Like, they could have done something interesting with this, like a Harvey Dent sort of situation, where it's like, where everybody who was left after Luke died was like, we have to make sure he was remembered as a hero to keep people inspired, you know?
Sure.
But he doesn't deserve to be a hero in this timeline. He's an attempted murderer and a coward. Why? I don't get why this is a good thing for, like, he shouldn't be people's idol in this universe.
Doesn't this feel like a commercial too?
like a car, like a Kia is gonna
like that,
come rolling
like
out.
And there's like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
This is a Christmas commercial right here. And then it like cuts, and he's not really here. He's actually just in his backyard, and he's looking up at the stars.
Rian Johnson, you genius! I didn't think anybody could single-handedly destroy the Star Wars franchise.
I actually just had like a little release like inside.
I don't want to hear about that.
No. I gotta make it weird because the movie's over, you know. Oops.
No, we weren't watching this on Netflix.
I mean, yeah, there was against that.
People were saying, again, that John Williams' score for this was good. They're like, yeah, the movie may not have been the best, but at least the music was good. I just watched it and I can't remember a single original theme that wasn't taken from the OT.
And just sort of remixed, or like badly remixed. And that's not a rip. John Williams.
Poor Mark Hamill.
What a great guy.
Poor Carrie
He's
Fisher.
done some of the best soundtracks.
Poor Adam Driver. Poor Daisy Ridley.
But yeah, John Williams. He's done great work.
Get it, spit it out.
The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi soundtracks are just remixes, and they're bad. Like, I doubt he has very much involvement, if at all.
Rose. Holdo.
Lord Dern.
I can't believe Frank Oz is A, still alive, and B, involved in this movie.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson film. Oh, that's new.
They added that.
Yeah. Moment of silence.
I am curious though if they edited some stuff out because
I'm pretty sure they
it's
did.
different.
There was a scene,
Not
the
a lot
Captain
of stuff,
Commander
but-
scene, and the part where BB-8 knocks out all the guards.
Because I do for sure remember the Captain Commander one. I
Mhm.
remember her confronting him.
Yeah.
And unless we talked over it,
I don't think we did. We'll watch it back, but
Yeah.
I also pretty explicitly remember BB-8 knocking out those guards.
yeah, I remember that being a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then he shoots the coins at the end. I thought the theatrical release was 2:45. I was pretty sure it was 2 hours.
That's a lot of
45
stuff to
minutes.
cut out. You think they cut out that much?
15 minutes. I mean, when the whole movie is basically B plot and C plot, I feel like it actually wouldn't be that hard. I'm not even.
Look at that weird artifacting around the stars.
It's really weird.
All right, so in conclusion, The Last Jedi may be my least favorite film ever made. It's competently made because it has a high budget in the terms of cinema, but in terms of destruction of beloved characters, I don't think anything can top it.
But even in just poor writing,
Poor writing?
bad dialogue, bad plot. I mean, I agree. Basically, is what I mean.
Yeah, because people were saying, I heard a lot of people were like, yeah, it's not really a great Star Wars movie, but, you know, if it wasn't Star Wars, you guys wouldn't hate it so much.
When you have to say it's not really a great something, and then but you have a problem.
Chewbacca consultant.
What?
No, but this does not function. Like, this would function worse as not a Star Wars movie because it wouldn't have name recognition. This has no narrative. There's nothing positive I can say about this movie.
Yeah.
It's like what George Lucas said in that interview right after this was released. He said it was, quote, beautifully made. And I immediately thought of that phrase, to damn with faint praise. Like, that's the best he could say about this.
I mean, again, it's like Mark Hamill. It's a tactful way of doing it because you're going to get in trouble. I don't know if George Lucas can get in trouble, but I don't know if he might, though. Disney might have put something in his contract.
Uh-huh.
Disney has some interesting contracts. I was reading about that. Like their Marvel contracts. You have to be, like, on call 24/7 to be your character.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it's 24/7, but you have to be, like, ready at a moment's notice kind of thing to play your character. And you have to work out, like, a certain number of hours a day or you, like, violate your contract. Things like that.
Why do they need Minutemen actors?
Because Disney's all about, like, the facade. Because, well, I mean, you know about, like, their theme parks. If you break character, you can get fired.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that. They have, if Tony Stark, sorry, if Robert Downey Jr. goes to an event, he is Iron Man.
Okay.
Because kids expect him to be Iron Man.
So they can't
and
have him, like, swearing up a storm? Is that what
if
it's
he's
for?
not Iron Man, I think he can get in trouble with his contract.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
Final QC artist.
like,
well, you really sunk that ship, huh?
Remember in Community where they have that whole joke about the guy who's Subway? Like, he is Subway.
Uh-huh,
That's what Disney's trying to do, where you are Iron Man.
I guess that those stereotypes
You're not
have to
a
come
person.
from somewhere.
Well,
yeah.
I know. It's just it's weird because it's one of those things where it's like real life can't be stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. Yeah, this movie's bad.
To sum up, I think we can safely say it was bad. It's a bad
We
movie.
had to watch it.
And now we can say that we watched it again. People say you can't critique it on a single viewing. It's better on the second viewing. There's
a lot of excuses that get made for this movie,
It's
and I
not
don't
better.
understand why. Because why do we? It's not like a little corporation. It's not a little indie film. Why do we have to make excuses for it? Well, they just didn't have the budget. No.
Clearly, that wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
So
I think that about does it.
Yep. Can't wait till we see Ryan Johnson get an entire trilogy.
I don't think
of
that's gonna
films.
happen.
No, I think that's going to get canceled at this point. We're not the only, like, we are generally the only people who hate stuff some of the time, but we are not alone in our hatred of this movie.
It's okay to be selective.
Mm-hmm. We just have
Nothing
high
wrong with
standards.
that. This movie's bad, objectively. I would argue objectively bad.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't think there's.
It's not. There's nothing like personal. I mean, I have a personal vendetta against this, but I also have an objective vendetta against this movie.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well.
Thanks for watching.
Have a little bit of negativity in your life. Goodbye.